And welcome. So tonight is session 15. And I'm hoping for some guest visitors. I have a couple of invites out, and hopefully they can join. So, Forge Men, how was your week? I hope it was amazing. I hope you reached out to her brother. I hope you did your calling. And here comes our first visitor. So, Kristen, hello. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm trying to figure out how to get my camera to work.
Well, if you said camera, it would probably work. But the camera is defunct. Yes, well.
Yeah, it's not allowing me to press the button to show my beautiful face. Why is that?
Tigers and spots. I don't control tigers or spots. And here comes David.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's going on, my friend? How are you?
Doing phenomenal. How are you?
Awesome. I'm very, very well. So David has had a successful day out in the field and has a beautiful hat collection behind him.
Oh, yeah. Got all the Armada hats.
I love it. I love it. So, David, it's been a while since we connected. David has come in my life and is very purposeful and has helped me on my path. So I invited him to join. And thank you, David, for joining. I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Awesome. How's the new living quarters situations?
Oh, it's amazing. Such a blessing.
I believe it. And so Kristen is trying to figure out her camera, but
she'll figure it out.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's always that.
So here he is. So it was kind of a pivot. It was a last minute pivot, and I reached out to both David and Kristen as people in my life and invited them to join. They both said yes, very willingly, and I appreciate you both. So that's the Forge Men Brotherhood. It's the intentionality. It's the life. It stuff happens. It's not all easy. David actually committed 6 months of his life to somebody that he was partnering with and walked away from. And I'm not going to tell you too much of your story. You can elaborate if you want to, but it's intentionality. And it's surrounding yourself with people that actually care, and it's worth being here. So, David, how do we meet? How do you know me? If you will.
So I started off, I did a permanent light install for my company, and we made a great connection from there and just started the seed there. And over time, the relationship grew and grew to a point where, I came by again just to maintenance the lights, and we got to talking more and really explored on our friendship, kind of build off each other. And from there as a relationship, we were able to get some insight, and I got some coaching in terms of my situation. I was working with a company that I had a partnership agreement, and that didn't really work out. And you were able to give me some really valuable insight there and grow and keep on scaling our ability there.
So thank you for saying that. And I'm putting you on the spot. And hey, Kristen, welcome.
Hi, look, I figured it out.
There we go. Nice kitchen. So David and I met pure happenstance. It was in passing almost. And the way that he entered my life, I actually wanted to do something for him. And I invited him to coffee. And when we came out of that coffee, I actually got all the benefit. And he might say that he disagrees, but it's about intentionality, and it's about like being in your purpose, being in your place, and giving to those that should receive. And I walked away with being full from knowledge, and it was just amazing. Kristen and I, we met in different situations. It might have been at a bar. It might have been with a buddy hanging out, but she's been an amazing supporter. She has encouraged me to do a lot of things. She has been singing my praises. So very, very different. But again, as opposed to going solo again this week, I figured why not invite people that are close to me, people that mean something to me, people that have encouraged me. And here we are. So thank you both for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So session 15, the standards you walk past become your standards. So do you choose to walk past? Do you choose to pick up the trash, put it in the basket? The standards you walk past become your standards. So every man has standards, or at least we say we do. And Kristen, I'm going to invite the female voice in here because behind every good man, there's a woman. It's the age old tale. There is a good woman behind a good man, and they support us, they encourage us, they lead us, and both genders need support. And there's so much support, I think, for women, and there's so little for men. We can't cry, we can't do this. And I'm actually gonna read some text that I was sent earlier, but we say we do. So we have standards for how we want to live, how we expect people to treat us, and how we lead our way, or how we lead our families, how we conduct ourselves at work, and how we take care of how we take care of our bodies. I'm sorry, I'm full of joy. I'm going way too fast. So how seriously we take our faith, and that's a very, very serious thing. So here's the problem: your standards aren't determined by what you say you believe. They're revealed by what you're willing to tolerate. Every time you walk past something you know isn't right and decide, I'll deal with it later, you're making a choice. You're making a decision. Rush said, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. So indecision is a decision. So every time you accept less from yourself than you know you're capable of, you're making a choice. And eventually, what you repeatedly tolerate becomes normal. Tonight, we're asking a difficult question. Fair warning. What have you been walking past in your life that's finally time to confront? Welcome to The Forge. So I'll open it up to both of you. What have we walked past in our life that we've chosen not to acknowledge? We've chosen to ignore. We've chosen to walk past. David, I know you have an answer, and Chris and I know you do as well. I'm going to put neither of you on blast, but what have you walked past that you've ignored?
Kristen, if you want to go first.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go. I think, again, not to put too much personal out there, but I think for 25 years, I walked past a lot of things. And I think had I made sure that my standards were heard, things would have turned out much differently. But I chose to be silent and not let my standards be known. And it had dire consequences. A 25-year marriage is no more because I chose to lower my standards instead of expecting someone to rise up to them, and vice versa. I'm going to say that honestly, vice versa. There were standards that I didn't rise to in many, many occasions where I could have done better. And there are consequences to not making sure that standards are met on both sides when it comes to relationships.
So that's so powerful, and thank you so much. So, men, when we don't acknowledge things, when we let it go, it festers. When you get a splinter in your hand, it hurts. But if you don't pull it out, it's going to fester. It's going to get infected. It's going to keep gnawing at you. If you don't acknowledge it, then it's going to keep going. If you acknowledge it and pull it out, yes, it hurts. Get the tweezers out, pull the splinter out. It sucks, but it's not going to fester. It's going to be a quick pain. It's the ripping off the Band-Aid, and it's going to be done. David, thoughts?
I 100% agree. That is very true. You do need to, act on things quickly and do not let things grow and grow to the point where you're no longer sensitive to it. My biggest thing that I feel like I would address regarding this question would be procrastinating on your own decisions. Every man has their word. They hold their word to somebody else, right? But how do you hold your word to yourself? I feel like I procrastinate on things that I hold to myself all the time. I could tell somebody I'll be there at 9 a.m. and I'm there at 9, but I'll, let myself down if I tell myself, okay, I'm going to go do this at 9 a.m. I'm going to go to the gym at this time, and I'll let myself down by 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. So I feel like definitely procrastinating on myself is a big thing for me.
It very much is, and I appreciate that. So, like we've talked about, the biggest lie you can say is the one to yourself. We talk about looking at the man in the mirror, and the biggest lie you can say is the one to yourself. So David and I met, and is it okay if I tell our story a little bit?
Absolutely.
Cool. So I bought lights for my house. They're permanent install lights. It was Christmas lights. They're fabulous, and they have seasons and security lighting, all that stuff. So it was bought from a guy. It was a sales guy, and David came and installed them. And I didn't know him. I met the sales guy, and I kind of had a bond with him. So David came out and installed them. Well, I live in a townhouse, so there was something about a disconnect, the Wi-Fi range, something like that. David came out the next day and spent the entire day here. So I worked in sales most of my life. So I was like, are you on commission? Are you hourly? Whatever. He's like, dude, I get paid for the job. My job is to be here for you. It's to install it. And he alluded to the fact that he really wasn't getting paid, right? He was very, very tongue-in-cheek about it. He was very respectful about it. But again, being in sales, I want to reward people for their activity, right? Correct me if I'm wrong at all.
Absolutely.
Cool. So he said, my job is to make sure it's right for you. So fast forward 6-8 months later, I had a problem and got some kind of back end stuff. But he came out, he did like more than he was supposed to for free. And so we had some other jobs. So he's a very young man, and he's got a lot of connections in the construction world, and he wants to. He has a construction company, a renovation company that he needs to blow up, and I'll give him any kudos, any respect. He has a portfolio. Send any business his way. I'll give you his contact info. Reach out to me. So he's got all the connections. His dad is hands on, whatever. He has all this stuff. But the point is, he went above and beyond. He's a young man, and it's hard to forge your path when you're young. So when you're older, nobody wants to hire you because you're at the end of your life. You're retiring. Nobody wants to hire you. When you're young, you have no experience. It's like, do I go to college? Do I get a degree? What do I do? How do I get experience? All this kind of stuff. So these are all conversations we've had. And he is a God-fearing individual. He's a sincere individual. And anyway, all the kudos to him. Point is, he came out, he did what was right. He did nothing intrinsic. He gave his time to me because it was right. And that spoke to me. So we've had coffees, we've had a couple conversations, we've actually done a couple transactions here and there. And he has a buddy that's in the AI space, whatever. So it's about intentionality. It's about being present. It's about being the best man you can be. It's about putting yourself out there for others. It's about doing the right thing. And that's what ForgeMen is. Again, we're not psychiatrists, therapists. We have no letters behind our name. We are about doing what's right and intentionality. So, David, all the kudos to you. Thanks again for joining. Kristen, all your support's amazing. The books that show up, no disrespect to you, hearing you out too. So, again, a lot of, and I think that we need to reach out more to female supporters because men need that encouragement. Because, David, do you cry on your brother's shoulder?
I wouldn't say I do.
And it's a stigma about what our society says is right? Kristen, you can go in the dressing room with your girl, right? Mm-hmm. You can cry on your girl's shoulder. You can sleep in your girl's bed. Again, I don't want to necessarily like sleep in my boy's bed, but it's a different stigma, right? It's a lack of support. It's a lack of effort. It's a lot of what is out there. And that's the whole like ForgeMen thing. And that's, again, when Brother Nick and Brother Mark had stuff going on, I'm like, let me reach out and get voices from like people, because there's so much more than just it's not just it's more. It's intentionality. It's purpose. It's being there to support somebody. There's so much, and I just want this channel to grow so big. And I don't care about the followers, subscribers. That comes with time. But our mission is to help 1 million men. We want to help 1 million men make life a little bit easier. Life is freaking hard, and there's so much support. And David, I want to cry on your shoulder, bro. If we had it, like we've shed some tears, right? Or I have in conversations. Kristen, God knows I have. I'm an emotional guy, and it's having that support and that foundation and the love of a brother or a friend that's just there.
But that's, I think, Jason, not to cut you off, but I think
go ahead, please.
That's what this world needs. We need that standard to tell men it's okay. And we also need for the women in their lives to understand that they need that support. Men are always seen as the hunters-gatherers, right? That's how we're made, right? They're the providers, the hunters-gatherers. And we forget when we're emotional all the time that men get emotional and men need support and men have standards. Like, how many times have we seen a sitcom where the husband is portrayed as this bumbling idiot and he just accepts everything that his wife does because that's just how it's supposed to be? And we need to change that narrative. We need to make sure that men have a voice in this world just as much as women do.
Thank you so much. And interrupt anytime with like words of encouragement, because that is the thing. It's not, again, I heard from, again, I'm not saying names or relationships or anything, but I've heard from a man that's watched this that I'm family with that said, when he went through hard times, he heard like, oh, if a woman talks back to you, leave her. That's bullshit. Like, that is not what we say. If somebody talks back, they have an opinion, respect it. But our opinion should be respected as well. And so that's so good. And I'm looking for a text here, and I'll get to it eventually. But anyway, so let's go into segments. So I'm so full of joy. It's praise God. He's so good, and I need to reel it in, and it's hard for me to do because David, God's great. Kristen, God's great. Is that Celsius, Kristen?
No.
That's not Celsius?
That's for a different video.
Okay. So, all right. So let's get into segment one, and I'll open it to you both when I look for these quotes that I want to read. So you don't get the standard you want. You get the standard you accept. And that's so true. So we tend to think standards are the expectations we set. But expectations without action don't mean very much. Standards are nothing if you don't take action on them. You can say you're going to be on time and continually show up late. You can say your health matters while ignoring it. You can say your family comes first while consistently giving them whatever energy remains after everyone else gets your best, primarily work. I'm sure we can all relate to that. You can say honesty matters while tolerating little compromises because confronting them would be uncomfortable. And eventually, your actual standard isn't what you said. It's what you accepted. So let's talk about standards. Let's talk about acceptance. Let's talk about what we want for ourselves versus what we accept. And I'll open up to either of you.
I think, David, if you don't mind, I'll go. Within all of our relationships, we have standards, whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, a parent-child, or a coworker. We all have standards. And when we start accepting behavior from people that is not up to our standards, we're allowing them to lower that bar. And the more that we accept it, the more we lower that bar. And our silence is acceptance of that. And we have to learn that it's okay to be vocal. And it's okay to say, hey, you're not living up to the standard of our relationship. You don't have to always be like, you're not living up to my standards. It is your standards, but it doesn't always have to be, hey, you're not living up to my standards. You're not living up to the standards of what I expect of our relationship. And when you're silent, how many times have we heard somebody say, well, you didn't say anything. How was I supposed to know? Well, yeah, if you don't say anything, the other person's never going to know. And if you have standards, you need to vocalize them. And I think a lot of times, especially with men, I'll go back to that. Men are told, oh, you just, you tolerate that. If your wife does this, you just tolerate it. No, you don't. If that's below your standards, speak up. You're not wrong for speaking up. You're making sure that your voice is heard. And in every relationship, both voices should be heard, regardless of whatever the capacity of the relationship is.
Thank you so much. 100%. David, any thoughts?
I absolutely agree. I think the standards you set in a relationship are the foundation, that's the bar. And if somebody's, playing on the fence and they keep lowering it and lowering and lowering it, there just hits a bar where you have to cut that person out of your life, or you just don't respect that person. Especially with relationships in my life, I would say that, there's things that can, of course, increase your trust in somebody, your reliability, your accountability, all those things. But every time you make a decision, it affects more than you, and especially in like a romantic relationship. When you make a decision, it affects your partner as much as it reflects you. So that's the biggest thing. I feel like if you are meeting each other's standards and you're going up and up, you're going to grow together. But if someone's falling short, if someone's not living up their side of the bargain, it's not going to be working out. It's not going to be successful.
That's so profound, and 100%. So we accept things, we tolerate things. But where do we draw the line? And that's a great question, because a relative of mine said, he watched something that said, if a woman speaks back to you, then cast her out of your life. So where do we draw the lines? Like what do we accept? And I think it's that expectation up front. It's the expectation of what the relationship is going to be, what the truth is going to be, what the honesty is going to be, and where the boundaries are. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people take truth as curtness, disrespect. But if we would be more honest with each other, if we just set the honest expectations, then it would be a whole lot freaking easier. The problem is when those of us do, so many others don't. So it's not taken as an actual like limit or an actual boundary. So like if we were just honest with each other, it would be so much easier. It'd be so much like we're in the South, right? We're all in the South. We're all in Charlotte, North Carolina around. Bless your heart is a statement here. Bless your heart means, I'm going to say, it means go fuck yourself. It means go fuck yourself. Bless your heart should mean have a blessed day. Let Jesus in your life. Go on your path. Walk with him. But bless your heart means go fuck yourself. Sorry for the language. It's what it means. Don't say bless my heart. Tell me to fuck off. If that's how you feel, then say it. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest about how we feel. And you don't have to be rude about it. If it gets to a point where you want to say bless your heart to me, then we're at that point for a reason. But if not, let's explore that. Let's talk about it. Let's set boundaries, have dialogue. Like what got us to that point? So anyway,
You want
it's all
you want someone who challenges you but doesn't disrespect you.
100%. Yes, people have no place in my life, and I hope they don't have any place in yours, because yes, people are just that. It's David and I have had a lot of conversations about business, and I've encouraged him. He's a very intelligent young man. He has all the answers, but sometimes it takes kind of like holding the branches back to see what's going on, right? And I didn't do anything in his life. Kristen, I've done nothing in your life. I've tried to encourage you. I tried to make you a brand ambassador, but you know, it's our own path. So don't have the bless your heart conversation. Don't be over animated when you're trying to help somebody create a commercial to where you almost break your hand and can't ride your bike home, because that's not good.
No.
David has no clue what we're talking about. Kristen does. So it's be intentional, be honest, be open, be serious, be sincere. I am sarcastic AF.
Really?
And sometimes, exactly. Sometimes I have to clarify whether I'm being serious or not. But when you're being intentional, damn it, be intentional. Be real, be there. Sit across from a young man who has all the potential in the freaking world, and you want to help him out because he has all the potential, the God-fearing ability to do it. And the person who, and you can't see where I'm pointing, but the person who is the next Celsius brand ambassador, but can't get out of her own way, encourage them to the point where it's your limit, because you can't change somebody. You can lead a horse to water. You cannot make them drink. You can hold their hand there. And God knows my business partner, Mark, held my head underwater for a long time. I stopped breathing. He still held my head. Finally, I decided to breathe again. So anyway, all good stuff. So segment 2, what you tolerate teaches people how to treat you. So standards aren't only personal. They're relational. Every relationship develops patterns, and some of those patterns exist because we've allowed them to exist. Every relationship, maybe somebody repeatedly crosses a boundary. Maybe disrespect has slowly become normal. Maybe you keep rescuing somebody from consequences they need to experience. We all try to save people, right? Sometimes they need to fall. Sometimes they need to skin their knee. Maybe you continually say yes when they desperately need you to say no. But there's an important distinction here. Having standards doesn't mean becoming controlling. It doesn't mean demanding perfection, and it doesn't mean threatening everyone who disappoints you. It means being clear about what you will participate in, what you won't participate in, and what you're willing to do when a boundary is crossed. So let's talk about boundaries, whether it be business, relationship. What boundaries do you guys have? David, go first.
I would say I have very strong spiritual boundaries first, lines that I absolutely will not cross. Doesn't matter, who it is, what money is involved, things like that. That's where I set my firm foundation, I would say. Now, I also would say in business, I also have a lot of boundaries. Like I wouldn't go into business with somebody who's, I've seen them lie or I've seen them be unfaithful to other people. That's a big thing for me. So I really set boundaries just to make sure I don't steer off from, the path God has given me. I feel like that's the most important thing because, God has a path for everybody. Doesn't matter your circumstance in life. Doesn't matter, whether you came from a foster home, whether you've never met your parents. everyone has a plan, and that's the most important thing. Just set boundaries and trust in God, and trust that, with his plan, you will be finding the right destinations.
I
It's
think,
deep, bro.
yeah,
It's deep.
that's very profound for such a young man. I think for me, it's above and beyond. It's kindness. I always try to treat people with kindness, regardless of how they're treating me. And some might say that that's lowering my standards, but I'm not going to lower my standards. I'm not going to lower myself to how somebody's treating me. I do love the phrase "kill them with kindness." It served me well in both of my careers over the years, but also there's times when if somebody's being unkind to me, I will take a breath and I will say, I'm not lowering myself. I'm not lowering my standards. I'm not going to come back with unkindness. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to let you know that what you did was unkind, but I'm not going to be unkind back to you. I'm not going to lower my own standard of being unkind back to you. Kind of two wrongs don't make a right.
And that's hard. That is so hard.
Very.
Because when somebody hits you, you want to, well, most people want to hit back.
Yep.
If you are going to punch me, I'm going to punch you back, and I'm going to punch you harder. So it's so hard to take that higher road. But I mean, David and Chris, both, you hit it both. David is so spiritual. And I met David a week into my walk with spirituality. Kristen has been a big supporter the whole time. Like, I knew her before my walk with spirituality. And David was, he's been a blessing to me. Both of you have. And that's why I invited you guys here, because this is a very personal channel to me. Again, it's on my arm. It's very, very personal. Yes, tattoos, whatever, but it's very personal. So, like, David is so genuine. And again, the business piece and whatever, you open up whatever you want to, but to have somebody promise you something who seeks you out and is promising you something that doesn't deliver on it and keeps you on the hook is just such, I'm going to use the language I want, it's bullshit. It is such bullshit to string somebody along. Cut them loose. Be honest with them. Don't string them along. Don't use somebody. The worst managerial decision you can make is to keep somebody around because they benefit you. Put that person on the path of success because they will give it to you tenfold. I promise you. If you hold them back, I want to use much stronger language, but I'm going to refrain. Don't hold somebody back because they are an asset to you. Teach them, learn from them, let them grow, and then set them free. Set them on that path. Maybe you guys can partner in the future. I'm not a smart guy. I have surrounded myself with people that have done very well for me. I've tried to coach, educate, grow people, and it's actually benefited me very well. When you have that net, spread your net, teach, educate, encourage, lift up, and then it's going to come back to you tenfold. Because when you drop one line in the water if you're fishing, how many fish can you catch at one time? One. If you have a net, how many can you catch? 100? So why shouldn't we cast that net and build people up? It's don't lie, don't deceive, don't manipulate. It's going to come back to you. And if not in this lifetime, that guy will take care of it. Have fun at the pearly gates, because maybe it's not going to come back to you. Maybe karma is not going to punish you for your sins in this lifetime, but it's going to catch up to you eventually. So it comes back to you tenfold. It just build people up, take an interest, see who has opportunity and potential, and then build them up and refer them out and just help them out. So anyway, tonight is so much passion. I know I'm rambling, but it's just so passionate. It's the lesson is just getting deeper and deeper. So my favorite segment is the builder story. Here we go. Drum roll. All right. So the crooked first row. A mason starts building a wall. The first row of blocks is slightly crooked. Not much. He sees it. He knows it's off. But fixing it means pulling the blocks back up, resetting the line, and doing the work he thought he'd already finished. So he tells himself, I'll correct it on the next row. He lays another row and another. Pretty soon the mistake that would have taken 20 minutes to fix the beginning is ruining the entire wall. That's what happens when we repeatedly walk past something we know needs to be corrected. Small compromises become patterns. Patterns become habits. Habits become standards. And eventually, you're sitting in front of something you built wondering, how did I get this far out of the line? Have you looked at life and said, how did I get this far out of the line? It's the drift. We talk about the T box. It's 1 degree. The drift starts small, but it grows so exponentially. Sometimes you got to stop building long enough to straighten the damn wall. What's a crooked first row you've ignored in your life? What crooked first row have you ignored in your life? Kristen, you seem to have 17 thoughts. I'm going to go to you first.
It's so funny that this is even the topic this week because I'm not going to say there's invisible strings or anything involved in here, but that's where I've been this whole like week and a half. I had a plan 4 years ago of where my life was going to be, and I started to drift and I got off course. And then when I was trying to build things, my foundation wasn't solid. It was crooked. It wasn't. And in the last week and a half, I have, and probably a little bit longer than that, I said to myself, this is ridiculous. I've got to straighten all of this out and I've got to get back to where I want to be. I've got to set higher standards for myself, one of which, Jason, you know, is buying a house. That's been a dream of mine for 4 years, and I'd let myself not do that, and I made that decision. I was going to do it. My career wasn't going in the direction I wanted it to go in, and that's one of the things that I love about you, Jason, is every time I would say that, you would challenge me and say, well, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And I never had an answer because I didn't do anything about it, and now I'm doing something about it. And I have a great opportunity, and I have a great opportunity that hopefully is going to solidify itself tomorrow. And now I'm back. I've straightened everything out, and I'm on the path I want to be on. And it's because I stopped lowering my standards and I raised my bar and promised myself I wasn't going to ever lower it again.
Good for you. And I'm going to call you on it when you don't.
Yep, you will.
Every time. Every time. Call me an ass. It's fine.
No, you challenged
I'm real.
me,
I'm
and
direct.
you raise my standards. That's what a friend's supposed to do.
So there's a great song by Josh Groban. And, you know, Jesus has filled my heart in the last couple months. And David, you know this walk as good as Kristen or anybody else does. So I am not afraid to share my voice. I'm not afraid to be and clown on TV or camera, but you raise me up to walk on other things by Josh Groban, but you raise me up. You raise me up. And Jesus raises me up. Christ raises me up. Christ is in my heart, and he makes it better for me. He lights the path for me. I'm on the walk with him. I hold his hand and he holds mine. And Chris, if I can be a beacon of light in your life, then I've more than fulfilled my purpose. David, I know your story. Do you want to kind of chime in on that with your 6-month journey with the company that you've left?
I would say that was a big turning point, but I feel like honestly, even the reason that I got into that position, I would say I lost my ambition for how much I'm chasing God, and that's why I honestly fell into that role. Is because I think I was looking for like a new opportunity, a new refresh, and that's why I ended up even joining that company. But what you're saying reminded me of the brick wall. It kind of reminds me to any time that I build myself up and I'm on a consistent path. I notice every time that that wall is crooked or something's uneven, it's because I'm not rooted and not, coming after God as much as I am coming after business, everything like that. And that just reminds me of the verse in the Bible, I believe it's in Matthew's, when Peter walks on water, right? He steps out into the water and he takes Jesus' hand and he's walking on water with Jesus. And the second he takes his eyes off Jesus and starts looking at the waves and, the storm racing down, he starts sinking. Right? That's how all of our lives are. Every time we take our eyes off God, that's when we're going to start sinking. And I notice that especially in my life, anytime that I'm not, devoted and actually pursuing God to the maximum possibility I can be, that's when I start sinking. That's where the wall goes from straight and everything's going perfect to crooked and then mistakes. And then it becomes too much for even me to handle, where I have to just turn to God and accept that, I messed up. It's my fault. I need to surrender myself, humble myself, and start again.
That's so real and so raw, and you say it so casually, and that just says how you live your life, that you say that so casually, because it's so deep. And like, again, I'm not afraid. It's all like, you are bringing tears to my eyes, but you say it so casually because that is how you live your life. So David explored construction in New York and had connections elsewhere. It was kind of a dead market. He gave up everything. And yes, he's a young man. He has a lot of opportunity in his life, a lot of life ahead, but he gave up everything. He sacrificed everything to come on here to start anew, right? And he tried to cast out a web. So anything I can do to this guy, like any opportunity, I will bless him with that. Kristen, I've been your biggest fan and support of the things that you do, but it's okay, and we have to find our comfort zones. Because again, for me, like, if you go back, because this is segment 15, right? So we're 4 months into this. If you go back to my intro video, I couldn't talk on camera. I hopped and puffed when Mark, my business partner in this, said, "All right, let's go," and turned the camera on me, I'd freeze up. But this had nothing but a thing. Like, if I can help anybody on the path of men, Christ, faith, just being a better person, then I've done everything that I could. And it's worth every bit of discomfort in my life to give it to somebody else. And that's what we're about. And it's just the most important thing. So I don't want to read any more of the lesson plans or anything else, but let's just kind of like spitball it, freeform it for a minute. So, like, Kristen,
Yeah.
what time do you wake up every morning?
4:30
Why?
to go to the gym. Drink my
Every
Celsius and then
day?
go to the gym.
Okay, this isn't the infomercial. So, how many days a week, Kristen?
7 normally, but definitely 6.
So 4:30 a.m., 7 days a week, if not 6. Go to the gym, and then your day job is managing an office with people and stuff, and you go to a second job on the weekend to hustle and bustle and take care of people and take care of yourself. So you're out there doing the damn thing all the time. So it's powerful, it's impactful, and you're doing the thing. Tell me about your faith journey.
So that's been an interesting one. So just
This is all on the spot, but it's
yeah. But so raised Catholic, baptized Catholic. We're Italian, we're Catholic. Lost my faith. Had a lot of really terrible things. I lost half my family within 3 years, and spent a lot of time being very, very angry at God. And slowly, in the last couple of years, I found myself knowing I need him in my life. I cannot do this without him in my life. And it was the little nudges here and there that were pushing me back towards him. Certain people that he was putting in my life, people he was taking out of my life to let me know that this is the right path that I'm on. And I feel now that it's all been worth it. The loss was worth it. The heartache was worth it, because I'm in a spot now where, like you, Jason, I'm open to him being in my life, whereas I wasn't before. And I think you have been instrumental in that, where you've made it okay for me to say, if that's even the correct term, for me to say, this is where I belong. I belong with him in my life. I belong on a path of following him and believing him and praising him. And I may not be as vocal as you are, but my heart is so full like yours is, because I know I'm on the right path, and I know having him in my life is why things are starting to really right themselves. And it's been an interesting journey, but I know I'm exactly where I belong.
So, thank you. I'm nothing. I will accept your appreciation. I am simply a guy who chose to change my life a couple months ago. Um, I,
But in
I'll
doing so, you're
accept your
changing other
thanks,
lives.
and that's why I'm so thankful to have this platform and this, and then the Forged in Faith platform, which is more about the biblical journey. Um, I do have a platform. I do have a voice. 3 months ago, if you'd said God would move my hand, I'd say you were a freaking lunatic. I'd say you're a Bible beater. I'd say you're full of crap. I would have used different words. I promise you. Um, Now you're not going to convince me otherwise. I was up at 2:30 one evening. It was 26 days ago, and God moved my hand to start a channel and walk with Him. At 46 years of life, God moved my hand, and David, you met me briefly a year and a half ago, or no? Was it? It was just 8 months ago, right? It was Christmas last year. So you didn't know me that well, but the difference in my life, and I know you've seen it, and the intentionality and like just the intention, the spirituality, the difference. Like the first time we met at Starbucks, David, you saw it you saw the gleam in my eye, you saw the tears in my eye when you spoke about Christ, right? And it was new to me, and that was 3 months ago. I hadn't started the channel yet, the Forged in Faith channel, but God is He is the most amazing being that will ever be presented into our lives at all. I am nothing without Him, and I am nothing compared to Him, and none of us are. And that's the humility that the three people on this channel right now know, because David, you followed a dream, you followed a vision, you followed a friend to a whole new world and a whole new part of the country to pursue your passion. You fell into something, you gave yourself to somebody for 6 months who abused you, and you finally chose to walk away from that. Kristen, you kind of alluded to it. You gave yourself a little bit more for 22 years of your life, and you have amazing blessings that have been bestowed upon you, but you realize that wasn't your place. And, I'm in the book of John in Forged in Faith. I'm in chapter 11. It's brand new. Again, it's 3.5 weeks into it. But, in 3.5 weeks, Jesus has healed a man that couldn't walk for 38 years. He has forgiven an adulteress who was caught in the act and said, cast a stone if you can cast a stone, if you're without sin. And all the guys walked away. He walked on water to save his disciples from a storm in the Sea of Galilee on the way to Capernaum. He spit in dirt to make mud to heal a blind man who had never seen from birth. And the whole thing is, was it his parents that sinned? Was it he that sinned? It wasn't a sin. He healed a man who couldn't see. So without him, we are nothing. And it's so powerful. And again, hearts full of joy, tangents, I get it. Usually I'm more on script, but I don't care. It's when you let him in your life, colors are more vivid. The signs are so present. I say this so frequently. They say the Lord works in mysterious ways. It is not mysterious. The mystery is opening your damn eyes, opening your heart, opening your soul to let him in. He will provide the signs. It's not mysterious. It is powerful. It is huge. It's not mysterious. It's amazing. So again, soapbox, tangent, passion. That's the passion of my life now. I'm blessed with so many beautiful things. I've got a couple of dogs, a couple of kids. I'm blessed with so many things. I'm blessed with David's friendship, and he's more of a mentor to me than I am to him. I wish I could get your car here. I hope it gets here soon. We probably should have discussed the whole non-battery thing. So David bought a car off almost the West Coast, and it was a deal and whatever, but we reached out and I wanted to help him, but he kind of had a line and it didn't work out. And Kristen, be the ambassador. You do it. And you're going to be closing on your home in a week or so. So congratulations to you. And David, you're on a new journey. You had a very successful day, a very fruitful day. David is a hustler. So for anybody who is watching or listening, if you need any kind of construction, remodel, any of it, David's a go-to guy. He is stand up. He has all the references. If you need teeth worked on, Arnold Schwarzenegger lift patterns, you can hit Kristen up. But yeah, that's my soapbox. Do either of you have anything you want to say, contribute, volunteer, broadcast yourself, promote yourself, anything before we end the session tonight?
I would say so beautiful what you said from the Bible. I mean, those stories are the best. Like really, when Jesus takes someone who's broken and, in this society is like unworthy, and he treats them like a normal person. He doesn't look at them and be like, you're an adulterer, you're a sinner, you've done this, and he just treats them like a child of his. That is exact love that we're supposed to recreate to everybody else. We're supposed to treat everyone else like that, murderer, that, homeless man, whatever it is, that's a child of God. God died on the cross for them. That is like a love that we could never achieve, but we should always strive for. I think I love that you can recite, what you're currently reading in the Bible. Like I'm currently reading Romans, and wow, when I tell you I've been spamming my highlighter nonstop, verse after verse, and I'm just like, this is exactly what I needed to hear. I couldn't call somebody up and ask for advice and they would tell me this. This is like straight up scripture from God that could not be articulated better.
It's so deep and so real, bro. I'm gonna piggyback on that. So I've toyed with faith in my life, right? So many years ago, it was a subordinate work, which I shouldn't have hung out with outside of work. We were friends and parents and whatever. It was all separate. But she invited me to church with her husband and her daughter. And I was having a tough time with my dad. And it was the first time I recall God ever speaking to me, ever. So I was having a tough time with my dad, and it was the prodigal son. He will speak to you. He knows your path. He knows every freaking hair on your head. He knew you before you were conceived. He knew you before you were a twinkle in your father's eye, before he met your mother. He knows everything about you, and he will give you everything that you need. And if you don't believe it, I hope you find it. So powerful. Thank you. Kristen, follow that.
Right? One of my favorite things that I ever heard somebody say and quote was hate the sin, love the sinner. And I absolutely love that because that's how I try to see everybody. They're not defined by the things they've done. We're not defined by being an adulterer. We're not defined by the things that have happened to us. We are defined by how we handle them. And when somebody looks at you and doesn't see that, they see you. That's so powerful. And that is God working through them. They're seeing you, the person that God created, and not the sin. And I just think that's such a powerful phrase. And we all, I think, need to remember that when we're dealing with people.
That's so powerful. So hate the sin, love the sinner.
Mm-hmm.
We are human. We are of flesh. We will sin. We sin every day. My mouth is a sin. If I'm breathing, I'm saying the F word. It's who I am. It's ingrained in me. Hate the sin, love the sinner. I repent. I have learned to pray. I've learned to ask God for forgiveness. And my struggle with crossing that path or walking that path was the fact that I am human. I am of flesh. I will sin. So, like last night's lesson and Forging the Faith was Lazarus, right? Martha and Mary, the sisters of Lazarus, said, Jesus, come. He's sick. He said, wait. They said, why? So we cannot question his time. By the time he showed up, Lazarus was entombed for 4 days. He said, move the stones. I think it was Martha said, Jesus, it's been 4 days. He's going to smell. Move the stones. He said, Lazarus, walk, come to me. Right? He had the funerals, the bandages, the death bandages on his hands and feet and eyes, to take them off. And it is not our timing. It is his timing. And when you give your life to him, you will be more full. I promise you. David, you've shown me that. Your words, your wisdom, the brightness of your eyes, your articulation have been absolutely amazing. And I promise you, you have given me more than I've given you. I promise you that. Kristen, your encouragement, your support, your belief, and your support, and your occasional gifts of books are an absolute blessing. I'm so thankful to have you in my life. You have both been placed in my life by God, and I'm very thankful for it. So anything I do for either of you, I promise you I mean it, and I will give you the support. David, if you guys need any construction, paint, give me a 30-second speech of what you do.
David, can you do fences? I need a fence.
Typically, I don't do exterior work just because of the permitting, but I do any home remodeling, painting, things like that. I also source material. If you're a DIY type of person, I have a lot of connections for sourcing material. If you need windows, flooring, whatever it is, pretty much all around. I have a pretty diverse connection loophole. You know, if you're looking for rental properties, I know realtors. My family has a brokerage down here, so it's any door, any opportunity, anything real estate related, I can definitely help out.
What's your company name?
My company name is Armada. So I own Armada Contracting, and then I also own Summit Lighting, which is a permanent company for permanent LEDs, Christmas lighting, things like that. That's what's really picking up on the winter season. And then the rest of the time I do Armada Contracting.
So I will vouch. I have lights on my house that he put up. I've not done a remodel. I bought a house a year ago. It was new construction, but we are talking about doing a project here. So I will vouch for anything. I have his portfolio. I know all of it. Kristen, where can we blow you up? Give us your 30-second elevator speech. Besides Celsius, damn it, she is your brand ambassador.
Now, I'm actually going to start a fitness channel on TikTok. And that's going to be my new focus. And I am going to hopefully help beginners on their fitness journey, because the online fitness community was a huge help to me 14 years ago. And I feel like we have lost our way in that community. It's a lot of people getting online yelling at you about what you shouldn't be doing. I'd rather be the voice that gets on and says, here, do this. And this is, you'll get this result, and not shame anybody for doing things one way.
Amen.
I'm feeling called to do that.
She'll shame if you don't rack your weights right, though. I promise you, I've seen it. So
that's
rack
the
your
only
weights.
thing I'll shame you for.
So I'm the guy who's bumped, bruising. I've done the things. I've learned from most of my mistakes. I have the battle wounds to prove it. I've learned. I've repented. I am a much better person now. I still sin every day. David, you found Christ. You've had Christ. He has led you where you need to be. And brother, you have all the potential of the world. I can't wait to see 10 years from now what you are. And you are going to be so much bigger and better than I am. David, I love you. Like, you know that. I can't wait to see what you're, not even 10 years, bro, 5 years. You have all the potential. You have the gospel. You have the intention. You have all the things. Kristen, get out of your way. I love you.
Yes.
You are the thing, right? You are the thing. You will close in your home in a week, and I can't congratulate you more than I possibly could. You are amazing. Thank you both for being in my life. Thank you for supporting me, and thank you for joining tonight.
Thank you.
So for viewers, I love you. Thank you for being Forged Men, viewers, followers. We can't wait for more to come. Again, it's intentionality. It's on my skin. It's not going anywhere. Forged Men, Christ, brotherhood. It's all about it. Again, Kristen, David, thank you both for joining tonight and giving me your time. The channel enjoys it. So thank you both.